Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
If you'll please come in and find your seats. We are so glad to be with you on this Shabbat evening. My name is Rabbi Zach Shapiro, and I welcome you. We're here with Cantor Lonnie Freilich, and this is a journey of Shabbat beginning this evening and coming to a crescendo as Joseph becomes a bar mitzvah tomorrow.
Yay!
Joseph, we're so excited to be celebrating with you and your wonderful family and all of you who have come on this Shabbat evening from all over the place. Everyone, let's take a deep breath of fresh air. We're going to open with the singing of Yidid Nefesh. It's on page 10 of our Sidurim. Our world is in such need of spiritual light. The spiritual light from the story when God said, Vayihi Or, let there be light. That same light from the beginning of creation came through the burning bush. It comes through the Ner Tamid, our eternal light. And that very, that very same light becomes known when Joseph and his beautiful family kindles our Shabbat candles, because that light is in your souls. So Joseph, Marshall, and Danelle, we ask the three of you to come forward. We're on page 2 of our Sidurim for our blessing over the Shabbat candles.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We're going to ask for all who are able to please rise for our Kiddush. We're on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'chavachu v'ratzon hinilanu zikaron l'masei v'reshit ki chuyom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litzat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta
Ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim Ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. Say l'chaim
L'chaim.
and take a drink. Yes, you do.
Take a sip. It's juice, don't worry. Please be seated, everyone.
Good job. All right, so we'll call you back up for Shema and Ve'ahavta, okay? Okay. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
If we turn to page 8, let's read together in the English. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created, and not to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us,
and to bring that vision to life.
There's an understanding in Judaism that on Shabbat evening we have the opportunity to come home either with blessings in our heart or curses. We can bring shtush through the doorsteps of our house, or we can bring something that's uplifting. The song that we sing now, the prayer, the Shalom Aleichem, animates that understanding. It says we have the opportunity to bring an angel of goodness to accompany us through our Shabbat day. We're on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mibelech, Malachei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Halakim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlakim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Seivchem l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Joseph, you'll come forward, please, and lead us in our next prayer, the Chatzi Kaddish. We're on page 26. Page 26, everyone.
Yikada Vikrada Shemei Rabba
Amen.
Balma Divarach Irte Vyamlich Malchute
B'chayechon u'yomechon u'b'chayei techol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'vizman kariv.
Vimrechu
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam Olam Me'omaya, Yitbarach.
Yipara Vishtaba Vepar Verama Venase Vichadar Ve'ale Vichala Shemeda Kudasha Brichu Le'mikol Birchata Vashirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiram Yama.
Vimrechu
Amen.
Just take a look at your parents' felling for a second. Wow. We're going to ask the congregation once again to please rise for our formal call to worship the Baruch Hu. We are on page 28. On page 30 with this prayer of creation, the Ma'ariv Haravim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Haravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvuma nishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, kolel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Or Shema Yisrael, our prayer of unity is on pages 34 and 35.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated, everyone. Joseph will continue leading us in our V'ahavta prayer on page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Lechacha בכל לבך ובנפשך ובכל מאודך. וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ולקחך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקמך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וקשרתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohim Emet.
Kendra, I think you and I can just leave.
I think so. I was just going to say that. I think we can sit down for the rest of services. No problem. You're still going to stay with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the book of Exodus, which we just began in the past week, we learn the incredible value of let my people go, which is, of course, what Moses said to Pharaoh over and over again. In our own day, those words continue to echo, as we have said to Hamas over and over and over, let our people go. Bring them home. Let our people go. As our people start to come home, the fight doesn't end, and the battles sometimes seem even more immense. That's part of why the prayer that we have on page 40, the Geula, this prayer of redemption, focusing on the Mi Chamocha, that's why we share this prayer at every service. Because in the Torah, after the children of Israel left, they still had a journey before making it to the Promised Land. So too in our day, with hostages released, we still have a journey as a people. But we'll continue to move forward against the tide from places of narrowness to freedom. And so we sing this prayer with that kind of joy because we need joy now more than ever. We're on page 40, Mi Chamocha. My guitar's over here.
Me.
Hold on. I'm going to sing. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow's version. Yeah, bye-bye.
Ya
La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha netar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osei felen, Nora tehilot osei felen, ya la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Malechutecha ahuvanecha, Lokei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, Ze Elianu ve'ameru, Ze Elianu ve'ameru. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
We have an additional prayer in the evening service, which is a special prayer for peace as we go through dark times. It's called Ufros Aleinu. And it's a reminder that after darkness comes light once again. And we ask for God to embrace us with a Sukkot Shalom, a sukkah of peace. So repeat after me. We're on page 42. It's 3 lines down. Just repeat after me. Ufros, Aleinu, Sukkot, Shalomecha. Spread over us a sukkah of your peace. Our Amidah begins on page 46, and we ask the congregation to please rise once again.
Adonai sefata tifta ufi agita hidatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotzeinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarach, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leach, Ha'el HaGadol v'Hagibor v'Hanorach, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei Pneichem, L'man Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Uzer U'Mashiach Magim. Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Vezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayecha Kol Atah Rav L'Hoshia. Mashiv Haruach, U'Marid Hagashem, Mekalkel Chaim Behesed, Mechayecha Kol Berachamim Rabim, Zomech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Erunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Mimit, Umekayech, Umot Mia Yeshua, V'neman Atah L'chachayot Chako, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayech HaKol. Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, Kedoshim B'chol Yom, Yechalelu L'cha Helach. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Friends, we continue with our own private prayers. We can use our Sidurim, our prayer books, as a guide between pages 54 and 62, or else just take the opportunity to offer the prayers of your own soul. When you're finished with your own private prayers, you may be seated. On page 60, page 60, our Song of Peace. May God make great peace on the earth.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Please join me as Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Joseph, we cannot wait to continue our celebration with you as you become a bar mitzvah tomorrow. Tonight was just a ta'am, a taste of what we're all going to expect. And I will be wearing my Red Sox kippah tomorrow as you hit it out of the ballpark. One of the joys and one of the pleasures of being clergy in the LA area is that we are surrounded by extraordinary scholars and dear friends who, when they are on sabbatical, they do what rabbis do on sabbatical, and that is that they lead Friday night services at other congregations, or they at least share a message. And one of my dear colleagues in the LA area is our presenter, our scholar, our rabbi tonight, Rabbi Sela. Originally from New Haven, Connecticut, he, like me, have been embraced and adopted into California. Now, Rabbi Sela received his undergraduate degree in biochemistry from, dun-da-da, UC Santa Barbara. In fact, Cantor, weren't you classmates or a year or two apart? A year above, okay. And that's where Rabbi Sela met Alicia, his wife, who is also here tonight. Receiving his rabbinic ordination from the Jewish Theological Seminary in New York, which is one of the seminaries of the conservative movement, he came out to become the assistant rabbi at Sinai Temple here in Los Angeles, and is currently the rabbi of Temple Ramat Zion, where Scott Bischoff, Randy's husband, where Scott is a product of. If anyone here has ever heard Scott chant Torah, it's extraordinary, and that comes from the great school of Ramat Zion. So we are honored, Ahud, to have you here with us tonight as our scholar and presenter to share with us a journey that you've gone through and to help all of us with that journey that all of us may encounter either personally or through other people in our lives. So if you'll please come forward, everyone, my scholar, our teacher, and our friend, Rabbi Ahud Sela, Shabbat Shalom. We're glad you're here tonight. This is the better mic to use. And if you want to use this,
Shabbat Shalom. Not that. I tend to wander. I'm a wandering Jew. How do I do this? All right, there we go. Shabbat Shalom. This way I can move. Joseph, Mazal Tov. Thank you for sharing this this evening with me. It's a great honor to be here at Temple Akiba. I just have to admit, I know you're, do you call him the Rebbitz man, the Rebbitzer? Ron. I know Ron, sorry. I know Ron a little bit better than Rabbi Shapiro. He sneaks off on the high holidays and he comes to TRZ and he sings with us once a year. He goes to other shuls too, I understand, but I'm really honored to be here tonight. So I wrote a book that's called Seeing Angels in the Shadow of Death. So why did I choose that title? Because we all, I think, experience the shadow of death at some point in our life. And you might know that word from Psalm 23, Tzalmavet, in the Psalms. So what do we see when we're in that shadow of death? I'm going to tell you a story, or the beginning of a story of some of my experiences, but I was privileged, I was blessed that I noticed something from last week's parsha that is just too amazing not to share since we're only 1 week away from it. So last week we started the book of Exodus, and of course we see the famous scene of Moses and the burning bush. So he sees this bush on fire, but it's not consumed. But that's not the only thing he sees. And I can't believe that I never paid attention to this really beforehand. So it says the following. Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he drove his flock into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. And an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire out of a bush. And he gazed, as Moses, and there the bush was all aflame, but the bush was not consumed. So, but yeah, he saw a bush that was on fire, but he also saw an angel. And Rabbi Ovadia Sforno, he's a medieval rabbi from Spain, he says the following. He adds this amazing comment, which I can't believe I'd never studied before. He says, the fire Moses saw burning enveloped the angel. And the implied message is that the righteous members of the Jewish people, who are themselves angels of God, his messengers on earth, are not consumed by the fire. I thought that was amazing, just in the context of all the tragedy that's going on here in our city. But what do we see when we're in the shadow of such a tragedy? So my story begins in high school. I grew up in Connecticut. I was kind of in a Jewish bubble for my early childhood. Went to a Jewish day school, lived a very Jewish lifestyle. The only non-Jews that I really knew were the neighbors on our street and the kids that I would play with on the block. And then I went to a secular high school, and it was my first time really making non-Jewish friends. And there was one young lady who stood out in this high school. She was the golden girl. I mean, literally, she had like golden blonde hair. She had this, great big smile, great big personality. She was a superstar athlete. She was, a wonderful student, super popular. Everything was going well for her. And I couldn't really, I didn't really exist in her circles, in her orbit. This is a picture, just so you know. These are real stories. This is her. Her name is Arisi. This is her twin brother, Justin, and that's her mom, Sandy. But in the middle of freshman year, Arisi got cancer. Now, it was surprising, it was shocking, but again, I wasn't in her circle of friends, I wasn't in her orbit, and it didn't really mean that much to me. She would kind of be in and out of school. Her hair fell out, getting chemotherapy, so she would, wear different wigs or bandanas and things like that. But again, it didn't really mean so much to me. I was a 14-year-old kid, wrapped up in my own life. I didn't really think about it. By sophomore year, she was still getting treatment. She would be in and out of school. And in the spring of sophomore year, there was an announcement over the PA system, or it went out to the different homerooms. If you haven't visited Arisi, she's in the hospital right now, but it would be a good idea to go visit her. I don't know why that message struck me, but it said to me, go visit, why not? And I was a good Jewish boy. I had a good Jewish education. I knew there's a mitzvah, bikur cholim, that you should go visit the sick. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna go do it. Didn't have my driver's license yet, so I asked one of my parents to please give me a ride to the hospital. And so I went to the hospital, Yale New Haven Hospital in my hometown, and tried to go visit her, but she wasn't seeing people that day. And I met her parents for the first time there in the waiting room. And they said, she's really not feeling well enough to see visitors. It's really nice that you came by, but we just can't let you in the room. But her mom said, why don't you write her a note? I said, okay. So I'll write her a note. And so I wrote her a note, and I left, okay. Come back again the following week, and because it felt like, writing a note's not the visit. It's not really what you do. So I needed to get the visit in. So I wrote her a note. So I came back the next week, and again, her parents said, she's really just not up to taking visitors right now. Didn't explain at the time, but later that she was on a ventilator already, so she really even couldn't communicate all that well. But they said, write her a note, and we'll pass it to her. So I said, okay. Now, I don't know what possessed me to write the following, and every time I say this, I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I wrote this, but it's important to tell the truth. So I was feeling good about myself at the time. I was 15 years old. I was happy-go-lucky, carefree, feeling invincible as a 15-year-old boy does. So I wrote to her, I hope you feel better, etc. And I didn't know anything about anything, even though I probably thought I knew everything. But I had this idea in my head, and I don't know why, that she had been sick with cancer for over a year now, and she's probably just tired, just exhausted from this battle, from fighting, and that if I could somehow take this on, I could defeat it. I could beat it. It was, it would be something that she just needed relief, like tag team, I'll tag me in, coach, and I'll take care of it. So I wrote the following, and again, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I wrote the following. I said, if I could trade places with you, I would. So I figured I could take care of it. She couldn't beat the cancer, but I'll do it for her. So I wrote that note. I passed it to her mom. Her mom didn't read the note, but she passed it to Arisi, and she said, just hang out here. Maybe she'll write you a note back. So she went into the room. We're kind of waiting outside. A couple of minutes go by. She comes out, and she says, I don't know what you wrote in that note to her, but she wrote back on this pad that she has, tell him to come tomorrow. So I said, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. So that was a Saturday. Next day was a Sunday. I was probably like most high school kids, procrastinating. Didn't do my homework or whatever. Time passes, rolls around to the late afternoon, and my parents say, "So are you gonna go back?" Like she said, "Go back, come back tomorrow, and she'll see you." And I was like, it's late already. I'll go back next week. And they're like, "Okay." Get to school on Monday, go to homeroom, and the homeroom teacher is just ashen because she has to tell us the news that Arisi died yesterday. And this wave of guilt washes over me. Again, I'm this arrogant, egotistical 15-year-old kid. She was waiting for me and I didn't come. And I should have been there. And it crushed me. And I held on to that guilt for a long time. I started saying Kaddish for her every time I would come to services for the next 3 years. Now I knew enough about Jewish tradition that you don't say the Kaddish for 3 years, but I couldn't let go of that guilt. I went to Israel my freshman year of college for a gap year program, and I held that there with me. And every time I was in a service, which was a lot in Israel, you can imagine, I was standing up with people and saying Kaddish. And went on a hike one time, and I found this really interesting colored rock, and I brought it home with me because I said, I know another Jewish tradition. I'm going to put that rock on her gravestone when I get back. And again, something planted in my head that said, when her yard site comes up, now she's not Jewish, right? And her mom's, on top of it, her mom's an Episcopalian priest. I mean, that's how not Jewish she is, okay? But on her yard site, which I didn't calculate to the Hebrew, but the English date, I said, I need to do something. I need to connect with her and her mom. And remember phone books? So I brought the phone book from the high school with me so that I could call her mom on the yard site. And I thought about that before I left to bring the phone book, and then I also had to calculate the time, right? Israel's 7 hours ahead of East Coast time. And so if I want to catch her mom, when would be a good time? Probably at night. So, okay, 8 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time is going to be 3 a.m., I think. Yeah, 3 a.m. Israel time. So I set my alarm, got up 3 a.m., went to the payphone. You remember payphones and telecards in Israel? After Asimon, but okay. So the telecard, and I got a big telecard because you need a lot of credits to call America because they tick off really fast. Had that all planned, and I called her. And I don't really remember the conversation all that much, but it ended with her mom saying, and I told her mom, I want to go to visit the grave, and I want to put the rock on the grave. And her mom said, okay, when you come back from Israel in a couple of weeks, we'll meet up, and I'll take you to the grave, and we'll do that. So I said, okay. 5-minute conversation, we're done. I didn't think too much more of it. So her mom and I meet up at the cemetery a couple of weeks later when I'd returned from Israel. And she takes me to the grave, and I say, I've been saying Kaddish for your daughter for 3 years now, not every day, but for a long time. And she says to me, you need to stop doing that. So she kind of gave me permission to stop. And she says, I need you to sit down. I need to tell you a story. So she said, when my daughter passed away, it was a really, obviously, difficult time for me. But she said, difficult for me as a religious person, as a priest. It was hard for me theologically. And it made her actually transition from pulpit work to chaplaincy. And she said, the first couple of years after she died, there was a lot of strength of connection that she felt because there were all of Arisi's friends from the high school community, and there were always these things being done to memorialize her and on the anniversary. But this was the first year the anniversary happened when all of her classmates and all of her friends were gone. They were all off in college in different places. And she had been praying to God to feel a sign, to feel closer to her daughter, because it feels like the time and the distance is growing. And she was really sad because she just felt distance. And she was praying and she felt distance. And so she said she was confessing this to her priest, because Every priest has a priest. Every rabbi, has to have a rabbi. Every therapist should have a therapist. So she was confessing this to her priest, and her priest was listening to her and talking to her and asking, so there was nothing that made you feel a connection to your daughter that day. She said, no, it was nice. It was fine. We went to the cemetery, but it wasn't a big thing like in years past where everybody was gathered together. It was just a few, close family, one or two friends who came in, but it was not what I wanted to be, and I didn't, feel that connection that I was hoping for and praying for. And he keeps pushing her. He's saying there was nothing that made you feel like you're connecting to your daughter. And she said, this one really weird thing that happened. She said, at the very end of the day, we're home. It's just me and Bob. We're home alone. It's the end of the day. Everyone's gone home. And then I got a phone call from one of her classmates who wasn't there, and he wasn't there because he was in Israel. He was actually calling from Jerusalem. He was doing a gap year, and he was calling just to say, I'm thinking about you, and I'm remembering you, and remembering your daughter. And the priest says, roll back a second. He said, you got a call kind of out of the blue from Jerusalem, and you've been praying for a sign from God to make you feel a stronger connection to your daughter, and someone was calling you from Jerusalem to say, I'm thinking about you and I'm thinking about your daughter, and you didn't think that was a sign from God? So she's telling me this, and I'm crying, and she's crying, and she just said, I had to tell you that because I just had to say thank you. She said, you were like an angel for me. You delivered a message for me that I needed to hear. And of course, I'm like bawling at this point because I didn't think like, I'm an angel. Like, I couldn't even understand why I felt so compelled to make that call. I'm a good kid. I'm a nice person, but that was like way out of my league in terms of like thoughtfulness of doing things. That was not typical for kind of a thing for me to think about doing. But it started me to think about this idea that sometimes maybe it's not under your purview, not under your full control, to be pushed to do something where you have to deliver a message to someone that needs to hear it. I need to take a drink. Hold on. So I'm going to fast forward a couple of years. And I'm now in my senior year of college. I'm UCSB. And things are going great. I'm doing well in school. I have a wonderful girlfriend who turned into my wife. Things are wonderful. But I'm starting to feel a little run down. And I'm starting to get this weird like bulge and swelling in my neck. And I'm starting to lose weight. And at first I thought like, I got the flu, and okay, whatever. I started working out. Maybe I'm just, the pounds are just coming off. But the bulge in the neck is kind of freaking me out. So I go to see the doctor and on campus, and it's cancer. And of course, that completely ends my college career at that point. And I go back to New Haven to get treatment. I had lymphoma, and I wasn't prepared theologically to deal with it. I knew the book of Deuteronomy, which says God will punish you, for all your various sins by giving you all the kinds of diseases and plagues that he put upon the Egyptians. And that didn't suit me so well. I thought of plenty of sins. I did just no one that, no sin that deserved that as a punishment. That seemed pretty harsh. And I know it's going to be a little bit weird because I was very Jewish. I was very involved in Hillel and things like that. I didn't call my rabbi because the rabbi of my temple at the time, he'd only joined my senior year of high school, so I hadn't really built up a strong relationship with him. But I called another religious person that I had stayed in touch with. I called Reverend Sandy. She, as I said, had transitioned to being a hospital chaplain, and I called her to tell her about what was going on in my life. And she agreed to be my pastor. And she talked to me as a chaplain would. We would meet every couple of weeks, and she would listen as I told her about all my theological problems. And she's an amazing pastor and a priest because she didn't say, well, just put your faith in Jesus and, everything. Like, no, she knew I was Jewish. She knew how much I cared about Judaism, and that was, such an important part of my life. So that by the end of the 6 months of chemo and radiation, spoiler alert, I'm still here, so thank God, it worked out okay. She said, okay, you're healthy. You're going to go back to finish college. But what does all this mean? What are you going to do with this experience? And I said to her, I really don't know how to process it, even though we've been talking for 6 months. I really don't know. And she's the first one who said to me, well, have you ever thought about becoming a rabbi? So she's the one who planted the seed in my head. I don't know how many Episcopalian priests, tell people to become rabbis, but she did. Or how many rabbis get, motivated by Episcopalian priests? But she did that, and she was an angel for me. She told me a message that I needed to hear. Because at first I said to her, I don't want to become a rabbi. Like, what, I'm going to read Torah for people? I can read Torah for people without becoming a rabbi, But she said, no. What do you think we've been doing for all this time? You knew you needed more than just physical healing. You needed a pastor, and you can do that for other people. And so she set me down on that path. There's more to the story. You're gonna have to get the book, which I brought copies with me, of course. Can I have 2 more minutes? 3 more? 5 minutes? Okay. So I'm gonna end with my favorite Jewish story, which just encapsulates this whole idea. And it's in the book. So it's a story. It's a Hasidic story that a disciple of the Baal Shem Tov, who was the founder of the Hasidic movement, had this obsession with the prophet Elijah. The prophet Elijah is special in Jewish tradition. Anybody know? He's one of just a couple of people who did not die. Right? He didn't die, and that means he can keep showing up. And if you read through like the Talmud, the rabbis keep running into him at all these kinds of random places. So there's this one disciple who says, I bet our rabbi knows where he's going to show up, because our rabbi also, they believe the Hasidic rabbis went up to heaven and hung out with God and the angels and everything. So he said, I'd really like to meet Elijah. Can you tell him where he's going to be? He said, no, it's not important. Don't worry. But he keeps nudging. Finally, the Besh says, okay, I know where he's going to be. You just have to follow my instructions to the letter, and then you'll be in the right place to find him. Okay, don't question anything. I'm not questioning. Okay. So he says, Erev Pesach, the day before Pesach, I want you to pack up a cart full of all kosher for Pesach foods and goodies and all kinds of things, and you're going to ride it into the forest, and you're going to keep going. You think you're not, you've gone too far, but you haven't gone far enough until you're going to come across a small house, and it's going to be right before the Seder. You're going to knock on the door, and you're going to not tell them who you are, just tell them you're a traveler who needs to spend Pesach, and you're going to spend Pesach in that house with them, and Elijah's going to show up. He said, okay, kind of kooky, but okay. So he does it, Erev Pesach, he loads up the wagon, goes into the forest. Have I gone far enough? No, keep going. The sun is setting. Where is this? There's the house. Okay, knocks on the door. Woman opens up. Can I help you? He says, hi, it's kind of strange, but I'm a traveler, and the sun's almost setting, and I know it's almost Pesach. I couldn't get to where I'm going, but can I spend the night Pesach here with you? And she kind of looks inside. She looks back, and he's like, I have a whole cart full of Pesach food. She's like, oh, well, then come on in, please. Why don't you start with that? You should have led with that. So comes in, they spend the first night in the Seder, and they get to the part where you open the door for Elijah, and he's like, oh, I know what's going to happen. So open the door, and nothing. The rabbi didn't say he was showing up the first night. He just said Pesach. Okay, just said Pesach. So whatever, they go through the rest of the Seder, fine. Next day, pray, eat, wonderful. Get to the second night. He's getting very excited. Finally, open the door for Elijah, and nothing. The rabbi didn't say he was going to be there the second night. He just said spend Pesach. So you can imagine what happens. Third night, fourth night, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8 nights. Okay. How do we end Pesach and Shabbat and holidays? We do Havdalah. What do we sing at the end of Havdalah? Eliyahu, right? We're inviting Elijah to come right in. He's like, Rabbi's so smart. Okay. It's going to be at the 8th night when we do Havdalah and we invite Elijah in. That's when he's coming. So Eliyahu, they go through the whole song. He's like, maybe one more time. Eliyahu. Nothing. All right. He's packs up his stuff. He's like, I think I got to head back home. It's been wonderful. Thanks for your hospitality. This has been great. And I'm going to head back home. And he is P.O.'d, which stands for personally offended. That's what it means. I don't know what you think it means. He goes, rides through the night, straight to the rabbi's house, wakes him up, and he's like, Rabbi, you lied to me. You told me Elijah was going to be at that house if I just spent Pesach there, and I spent the whole Pesach there, not with you, not with my family, and I waited there, and he didn't show. And I am P.O.'d. I am personally offended that you lied to me. The rabbi's like scratching his head. He's like, I swear he was going to be there. Like, I'm not lying to you. Like, I had on good authority. Now, Elijah's a busy guy. Maybe he got delayed. Ride back there really fast. Or maybe he saw your cart and your horse, and maybe he like got spooked. And he go back right now and get to the house, but park your cart far away and like creep up to the house and don't scare him away, and he's going to be there. Are you lying? I'm not lying. I swear he's supposed to be there. All right, I'm going to trust you this one last time. So he rides all the way back, and now it's like almost dawn. He gets to the house, parks the cart and the horse far away, creeps up to the house, on his tippy toes, looking in the one window. And what does he see? He sees mom, he sees dad, he sees the kids. Nothing else. So he sits down in the mud, and he's like, what am I going to do? Like, my rabbi's just, pulling on me like he's lying to me. I can't stand it. What am I going to do? Like, am I going to not believe this rabbi that I think is so great and wonderful? And as he's sitting there kind of feeling sorry for himself, he's listening into the conversation of the mom and the dad and the kids inside. And what are they saying? Wow, what a great Pesach we had. That was amazing. Oh my God, that was so fun. And we had so many good stories and singing, and all the food that visitor brought. He was so generous, and that was so fun and lovely. And the dad is like, I know, it was so amazing, but like, who could that guy be? Like, it was so random that he showed up right before the Seder and all that. And the mom like hits him on the side of the head. And she's like, what do you mean, who could he be? Who could he be? She says, you don't recognize Elijah the prophet when you see him? Shabbat shalom.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think you can all understand what an incredible soul we're in the presence of, the journey that he just shared, and the journey that is really part of his narrative that he hasn't shared yet. We have copies of his book that are available, and just see us at Oneg afterwards so we can get one in your hands. He doesn't. We don't do money transactions on Shabbat, so we'll talk about how to get him the compensation for these books. But we are so grateful that you're here, and thank you for sharing the vulnerability, the growth, the passion, and knowing that our eyes can be open to seeing angels of God in every way. So we appreciate it. Thank you. It's so appropriate hearing Rabbi Sela's words that we all offer a prayer for healing, a Mishaberach, which, yes, it asks for God to send us wholeness, but it also asks for us as caregivers to use wisdom, and it asks for doctors and caregivers to have strength to know what to do and how to do it and when to do it. So if we open to page 253, page 253, we have the opportunity to ask for healing. And we'll pray together the first part of this. And when we get to the center, as my eyes meet yours, if there are people you know who could use that extra prayer, please share those names out loud.
Isheberach Avinu
voice of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
מי שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen.
It's now our honor to welcome forward, representing the congregation, Wendy Senelik. Wendy, thank you so much for being here. Wendy is the recording secretary on our board of trustees, so be careful of what you say around her, everyone. An eye that sees, an ear that hears, and arms that hug. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. I'm Wendy Senelik, and I'm so happy to be here representing the board tonight. Thank you, Rabbi Shapiro and Cantor, for a beautiful service. Thank you, Rabbi Sela, for sharing your story. It's very touching. And Go Gauchos, also UCSB in the house. Amazing. So again, welcome everyone. Thank you to the Nyman family for lighting the candles and for leading us in the Kiddush. And it's going to be an awesome day tomorrow. I can just tell. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Is there anyone here for the first time tonight? Raise your hand. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here to support, I'm guessing, the Bar Mitzvah family. And we'd love to meet you at our Oneg after services across the hall in the social hall, and the family's sponsoring our Oneg, so thank you for that as well. We have a couple events coming up. Everything, of course, is in our bulletin and in the e-news. Torah study is online and in person tomorrow at 9 a.m. And Mishloach Manot is coming up, and that happens to be my fundraiser. So I would love if everyone would support it. Yes, it is a mitzvah to give Mishloach Manot on Purim. It spreads happiness and joy, and I think we all agree we all need more of that. So you have a couple options. You could be a sponsor. Why not? Or there's different gifting packages. I hope everyone will participate, and everyone, of course, receives a Mishloach Manot, whether you participate or not, and then you're given a beautiful scroll that says who fulfilled the mitzvah in your honor. We have a open house coming up on Sunday at 9:15 in the social hall. Which is a network, Dish Network, has reached out to Temple Akiba to put a mobile cell phone tower on the roof of our building. They are coming in, their representatives, on Sunday to answer questions. And I really encourage you to come and learn more about this. Men's group has a presentation with Steve Zipperstein on Tuesday, January 28th at 7 p.m. And there's lots of other stuff going on, but I think that's enough of me yammering up here. So Shabbat Shalom and have a good evening.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Wendy. Our concluding prayers begin with the Aleinu. It's on page 282, about halfway down the page. We're going to invite all those who are in our 7th grade B Mitzvah class, so Jack, Jonah, Olivia, and Joseph, to come forward to open the Ark. We invite the congregation to please rise. Again, page 282, halfway down the page. So Jonah, Jack. Olivia over here. Joseph, join Olivia on this side.
So you're going to take, ready? Grab that, everyone.
Yep, slide it open.
And go ahead.
Perfect.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone.
you, everyone.
Take your seats. Please be seated, everyone. If we turn to page 291, page 291, toward the bottom, I offer this reading as we prepare for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. There are stars up above so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember now friends and family of our congregation who have died, who continue to shine upon us from their eternal resting spaces. We remember first those for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, including Jacqueline Bernstein, mother of Karen. Our hearts are very much with you and your family. Is there anyone else who is observing Shloshim, the first 30 days? Lila Yee Goldstein. We add to their names the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths that occur on this Shabbat, beginning with those who have names in our Urfrig Memorial Room. Jack Alper, Stan Blogg, Ray Brownstein, Betty Davis, Minnie Friedman, Ann W. Gordon, Marilyn Gotts, Henry Harris, Mary Kolodny, Rosa Moses, Rose Ruth Naar, Sam Paperny, Ralph Pizer, Lillian Roberts, Jerry Rosen, Hannah Sampson, Dave Schnur, Rivko Soloff, and Esta Strick. We also remember Fanny Aberman, Sylvia Barth, Marjorie Berkson, Lee Brockett, Anne Brown Devine, Darren Coffey, Marceline Creve, Francis Gleckman, Samuel Gleckman, Lynn Goller, Michael Grossman, Charles Harris, Olive Katz, Leon Kasdan, Stanley Koppel, Murray Kurz, Matthew Levan, Mitchell Lerman, Harry Levin, Julian Levy, Esther Margolis, Sarah Myers, Esther Perkin, Linda Pollock, Jean Recht, Sarah Reynolds, Barbara Rona, Max Rosenberg, Gertrude Rubenstein, Leonard Sattel, Paul Schulman, Hannah Schein, Jeanette Silverstein, Joseph Silverstein, Albert Sofer, Reva Stein, Dora Wysotsky, Evelyn Yarfitz, Faye Mann Zaslow, Anna Zebrak, and Samuel Zebrak. Are there additional yard sites those here are remembering tonight? Eric Schumbaum. May their memories guide us all toward goodness. We turn to page 294 and we rise once again as a congregation for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah b'yomad divrach urotei v'yamlich malchotei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagalau v'yizman kariv v'imru abed Yehi shmei rabbah bevarach le'olam u'amei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudashah, b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who causes peace to be known in the high heavens help us understand that by reaching out to one another, we create peace on earth as well. For all Israel and for all humanity, we say,
Amen.
Amen. Everyone take a deep breath. Kendra, how are we closing?
So repeat after me. La la la.
La la la.
You know the entire song now. So we're going to close with a nigun, which is a wordless melody. So we're going to be singing a lot of la la la's and hand clapping. So we actually invite you to put your prayer books either down on your seats or into the section either behind or in front of your seats. And we ask that you join us. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Have a step up.
Ya la 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 la. Thank you. Ya la la.
Joseph, Marshall, and Danelle come on forward for our motzi.
Gonna hold. You ready?
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in happy chorus as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher hotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom.